Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm out here making my way to the store. Gotta get some things because I'm not only am I barbecuing, I'm actually got some things on the grill to cook. I mean, on the stove to cook as well. A couple of curries and rice dishes and noodle dishes. I'm making Thai and Indian food today. I got some things to grill up before I do just that. And I messed around. I think I threw away one of my lighters. So on the way to the Dollar Tree to get a couple of those so I can go ahead and start. I always make an effort to get up as early as I can, and it's 9 o'clock now. I be trying to rush these things because I know firsthand how long it takes. How long these cooking sessions take. They literally take all day, quite literally. They do. And trust me when I say that. Um, but with that said, I was just thinking about something. See, I'm actually glad that, because I was going to start this video a little earlier, but there's this house that that's up for sale in this neighborhood, and it's caught my eye because I'm pretty sure I've talked about this, that that I'm definitely interested in real estate. I mean that should be everybody's end game, or at least at the very least, really middle game, at the very least, because especially when you live in a town where rent for an apartment is exponentially high, you'd be better served just playing the real estate game, i.e., leasing a house, either leasing a house or leasing a townhome at the very least. But something had me thinking today. I don't know if it was just the spirit that put it in my mind. I don't know. But the word for today, for if for whatever reason, is olive branch. Now, coming from Memphis, I'm pretty sure people who live in the 901, the 662, are very familiar with the concept, or at least the name Olive Branch, because there's this border town over by Memphis in Mississippi in North Mississippi, called Olive Branch, Mississippi, along with South Haven, Mississippi, as well as Horn Lake, Mississippi. Three border towns that are right over once you cross, once you leave Memphis lines and Tennessee lines and go into Mississippi. But it's real interesting that of all the years that I've known of Olive Branch, which was basically my whole life, because like I said, I lived in Memphis for 27 years. Did the whole, what little, I'll be at the goofy ass Memphis interpretation of that. And believe me, I wouldn't have been served any more justice had it happened here where I currently live. But I'm talking about like the whole K through 12 college, the first sweetheart thing, first love, first lover, lost my virginity, all that, all the whole nine, I did all that shit down there. As goofy my life's interpretation of all that really was. But I never understood, I never realized that Olive Branch is more than just the name of a city. In fact, the term olive branch, believe it or not, actually comes from the Bible. Somewhere in the book of Genesis, I want to say chapter 8 of Genesis, where it talks about an olive branch. And an olive branch apparently it's supposed to be symbolic of love and peace. But I interpret it as, lending your brother a helping hand. In time of need. There's another house over there. Of course, that one might be a little more expensive. So it just compelled me to think and wonder, well, during the time that I was down there in the Mid-South, as well as the dang near 7 years I've spent here in Colorado, what kind of olive branch has been offered to the vast majority of us? And seeing that we were never given an olive branch, seeing that we had to figure this out for the most part on our own, well, the question that I beg is, should we be offering an olive branch? Because this country, our country, is on the brink of war. It goes without saying. If we're not there already, if we're not in the midst of World War III already, many would say we are. Just because the bombs aren't going off, we're not swatting nukes out of the sky. Just because we're not in that phase yet doesn't necessarily mean that World War III isn't raging. But with that said, I strongly encourage the youth, the men aged 18, who are required to, or who will be required for selective service, whether it's 18 to 25, 18 to 26. It's in your best interest to take a good look at this country, especially what it's devolved into. Because let's face it, bro, it just wasn't the same way it was 20 years ago. And if it was, at least things were still underneath the surface. Now everything is coming above the surface, and that's usually how it works. Whatever somebody is calling themselves trying to hide something, it's only a matter of time before that shit goes over the surface. And with me and my encounters with the goofies that I run into, it never fails. It never fails. But with all this huffing and puffing, especially, as black men, ask yourself something. Do you have any business going over to Ukraine or Israel fighting your enemy's enemies? We already know the answer to that. Fuck no. And it's just like this country too, to require its men who have done absolutely jack squat diddly for us to go over there and fight and die for them, when we've been fighting a war in our own backyard. Somebody make that make sense to me. Why are we going over here fighting in wars when we got a whole war going on right here in the U.S., right here in our backyard? It just don't make sense to me. To do anything for a country that has done everything in its might and power to fuck us. Only, and mind you, let me point something out. Let me point something out to the young man. See, I live in Denver, right? And I can't tell you, because with the significant homeless population that we have here, I cannot tell you how many of those people who are homeless are ex-servicemen, vets. I can't tell y'all. Disabled vets. Motherfuckers who couldn't work even if they wanted to. They're disabled. They've lost limbs. I can't tell you how many people, it took me coming out here to realize, like there are these stilts, and I'm pretty sure I knew what they were, the prosthetics. I know what they are. Hell, I'm a bioengineering major. I might run prosthetics. Might just be something that I run into. So I'm pretty familiar, and I've been pretty familiar with the concept of prosthetics. But I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, who've had leg and arm prosthetics. Now, these people weren't necessarily homeless. No, the people, and what I can't tell you is how much a prosthetic arm or leg costs, but I assure you it's probably expensive as fuck, and not everyday people can afford them, even with insurance. I mean, this is what you're going to be faced with. You're going to go over there. You're going to fight Russia, and I dare say its allies like China, North Korea, and Iran, because it's only a matter of time before they get involved in North Korea. And hell, even probably Cuba, because I'm referencing, in Brazil, because I'm referencing, what I'm referencing are the BRICS nations. The nations that are doing everything in their might and power to deviate from the American dollar. And I know I'm kind of coming off as a little bit of like Black Ram 313 when I say this, but it just had me thinking now that we're not in the thick of it, but we're looking at the thick of it. And to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Cops are criminalizing us every chance they get. I'm like, okay, well, since the cops, like I said, with all this bullshit going on between the cops and the criminals, let them motherfuckers fight for America. They can't wait. The cops of today, the race soldiers of today, let's face it, they get their jollies just pointing a gun at somebody and squeezing the trigger. So if it's anybody, if you ask me, if it's anybody who should be signed up for selective service, who should be drafted, it should be the very fuckers who clearly have an itching for war. Who clearly have a penchant for war, for bloodshed. Why aren't they over there? Why aren't they being recruited over there? And if they're so willing to kill unarmed civilians, let's see them in action going up against, like I said, Russian, Chinese, potentially Iranian and North Korean troops. Not to mention Israel's enemies, like between Palestine, Gaza, and, you know, the Houthi rebels. Let's see them fight them motherfuckers. My question is, why are you getting involved in that bullshit? I want you to see what your reward is going to be for that. Because these people, whether you want to call it your politicians, whoever it is that is going out of their way to fuck you, is doing just that. They're fucking you. And this is coming from somebody, this is coming from a would-be cop, as well as, and I don't know if I told you this, but a would-be Marine. And what do I mean when I say a would-be cop and would-be Marine? That means I damn near signed my name across the dotted line. And word not for the fact that I was still 17 at the time, and I had my parents begging me and pleading with me not to join the Marines, I would have joined the Marines. Fast forward 4 years later, I'm 21. Here I am at the police academy, out there, you know, somewhere between Millington and Fraser, out there in Memphis. Filled out my application, completed my 60 hours college credit to become a Memphis police officer. You know what stopped me? Well, in addition to people that I personally know, because at this point, my parents didn't really dig into me or grill into me about, not nearly as much as becoming a soldier or, you know, a Marine for that matter. But I did have people that I knew very well begging me, pleading with me not to join the fucking force. You know, ex-jarhead, who ironically enough, the guy was an ex-jarhead as well as an ex-sheriff deputy. Ironically enough, for Shelby County, because he wasn't even from Memphis, but he moved, you know, he grew up most of his life in somewhere in Ohio, and was originally from Germany. But apparently he spent enough time in Memphis and still does live in Memphis, even to this day. Apparently long enough to become, you know, a sheriff's deputy for Shelby County. Shelby County Sheriff begged me not to join MPD. So in addition to that, it was the fact that, you know, I had this whole thing about, well, they had this whole thing about going to a bank and getting it notarized. Weird stuff that, like, to this day, I will never understand why would anyone have to take a police officer's application, which you pick up from a police station, fill it out, take it to the training academy, and then they send you back saying that you need to go to a bank, or really specifically your bank, to get it notarized, where they basically put a stamp on it. I mean, the bank does this. It doesn't make any sense, but again, the hoops and loops of Babylon, the runarounds that this country gives you. But when it comes to getting out here and fighting and killing and dying for your country, supposedly, oh yeah, that kind of job is right around the corner. In fact, I never told y'all this. But do y'all know that and this is kind of what got me hooked on the whole idea of joining the Marine Corps in the first place, because the one and only job offer that was literally brought to me, handed down to me, the one and only job offer that was ever presented to me was service in the Marine Corps. Now, with me being an Army brat, I didn't even know what the hell a Marine Corps was. Never heard of it. As far as I'm concerned, it was the Army that did all the fighting, you know, as far as sending troops over there and, you know, infantry and whatnot. Y'all gonna have to forgive the traffic. This is Denver. I'm telling you, as soon as the crack of dawn hits, they out here. Try to move away from this traffic. It's really just trying to stay in the shade because it's gonna be hot than a motherfucker today. And of course, I'm over here, so don't want to be trespassing. So let me. Damn. Okay. So, in fact, I think there's a bench. I'll just go sit over there, and it's over by the store anyway. So I can finish this up. Just walk over there. I have a bench over there to sit down. But yeah, that was the one and only job ever offered to me. And given this little employment problem that I seem to have been experiencing, I don't know, since I became working age and had to leave a city that was, like I said, third in the nation in poverty and unemployment, and literally had to start the fuck all over again in this goofy ass state. And now all of a sudden I'm catching all kinds of saltiness, problems that I never, but you know what they say, new levels, new devils, right? And I'm like, okay, well, 20 years after the fact, since all this, really 22 years after the fact, I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe you see things a little different. Maybe you had a different life experience. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Mystery Babylon treated you a little bit better than it treated me. And I'm here to tell you, Doc, I ain't no criminal. I never spent a day in jail. I have 3 bachelor's degrees, and I'm going back for more. So why has Babylon been so cruel to me? And what do I owe Babylon after having treated me so disdainfully? As if I did Babylon something other than defile the goofy ass fucked up stereotypes that were flung my way. Besides crawling out of all the shithole situations that were flung my way. The so-called talented tent don't have to endure these things. And I should know because I've seen, and even though I wasn't a student there, I've seen countless, Harding academies, countless, private schools and all these so-called Catholic and Christian schools, things of that nature. And I've always had a hankering for education. So, and again, I'm just speaking from my experience. I am. But why doesn't my experience count? Because like I said, I'm not a thug, I'm not a criminal. I like to think I'm a productive member of society. But like I said, cops are targeting 9-to-5ers. I faced what I faced, and I was never lending a helping hand. Never. As if the name of the game was for me to fail. You look at America, you see it for the essence and nature of what it truly is, and you think to yourself, that's what the fuck I'm fighting for? That's what I'm fighting for? That's what I'm going to Russia and Gaza and fucking wherever else the hell to get my brains and balls put on that's why I'm putting my brains and balls on the line for? I mean, nothing, the way I see it, you have nothing to show for it except splattered brains and balls. For a country that, as far as I can tell, is one of the most, has exemplified one of the most horrific forms of Satanism that I've ever seen. I mean, when you really look at what American history is really all about, I mean, the foundation of this country is purely satanic. The atrocities that have been committed upon, when I would say black and brown people, but by brown people I'm referring to the Native Americans, not necessarily Mexicans, the indigenous peoples. Y'all, some people call them red, and take your pick. But the indigenous people, both black and red, if you will, as well as so many other atrocities. You know, just to name a few. So, for the young man who is somewhat impressionable, y'all see I'm on this bench and they still finding a way to make a bunch of racket and drive through. Yeah, that's safe. Speeding in a parking lot. Then they wonder, they're reckless out here, dude. It's crazy. I mean, I hate to sound so distracted, but I mean, that's just how these people are. Then they wonder why there's so many goddamn car fatalities out here. That's why I always call this place an even goofier version of Memphis. Because, yeah, we know Memphis is all fucked up from the flow up. That we do know. But, shit. Just because Denver is slightly better than Memphis, it don't. And I mean, in my own personal experience, look what I had to go through to encounter, like, to realize that there was indeed greener grass on the other side. Quite literally, because the grass literally is greener out here. The leaves are greener out here, you know, just speaking figuratively as well as metaphorically. But like I said, after all the bullshit that we've been through, if you live the kind of life that I live, and what kind of person am I to live the kind of life that I live? A college student? A scholar? A black man? Because people, I'm not, you would think, bro, the kind of life that I've lived would be that of somebody who, you know, damn near of a damn, I would swear to God, of a damn Nino Brown. I mean, somebody who has publicity, somebody who has popularity. You would think that. The kind of bullshit that I've encountered. Or is that just, again, part of being a black man stuck in Babylon, having to navigate Babylon? And with that said, if you've lived anything similar to and have experienced anything similar to what I've experienced, you ain't got no business fighting this war. You ain't got no business doing anything for this franchise known as the US of A. Because like I said, you got enough smoke dealing with the race soldiers running around here. Let them fight. Let them fight this war. Let them fight World War III. Because like I said, as trigger happy as they claim to be, they can't wait to shoot somebody. Okay. I'm like, okay, motherfucker, you shoot those Russians and Chinese and Iranians or whoever it is we're pitted against or will be pitted against when the guns do start ringing off between countries or the nukes. Whether we come in direct contact with the enemy or we're just playing remote control games where, you know, we're literally trying to blow each other out of the sky. I mean, however it goes down, I'm here to offer you a suggestion and really a warning. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. It's not your fight. It's not our fight. We ain't got no business. We ain't got no business in Ukraine. We ain't got no business in Israel, Gaza, Yemen, Egypt, wherever the hell. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go and get off here. The Denverites must be in heat again. I don't know what's going on with these motherfuckers, but yeah, I know y'all hear that. But yeah, man, I say all that to say we ain't got no business, and America doesn't deserve us. They don't deserve our service. Because again, look how they treat the fucking vets. You get out here, and hey, if you don't want to take my word for it, you need do nothing further. I'm glad I remembered this too. If you don't want to take my word for it, well, why don't you listen to somebody a little bit more impressionable than me, like the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he warned about this years ago, that especially as far as us black folk, we ain't got no business, especially us black folk, let alone young Americans in general, ain't got no business fighting this war. Now, like I said, I'm 38. You would think I wouldn't have to worry about, but who's to say they won't try to extend that draft on up to mofos in their 30s and 40s? Because, I'm still an able-bodied man, and they know that, and they'll, things get bad enough, no doubt they'll try to exploit it, because, yeah, Ukraine, the Ukrainian army, they got a whole extension of ages 18 to 60. Able-bodied men. That's all fucked up. And they have to do that shit. That's all fucked up. Ages 18 to 60 of able-bodied fighting men within that age range. And it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Babylon did the same at some point, because right now they're just requiring 18 to 25 or 26. But yeah, man, just stay out of it, because God, these people are weird, dude. There's just some folk. They are just some weirdos, bro, and there's no getting around it. They try to explain. They try to make excuses just like the Memphians do for that bullshit. They can't justify the number of homicides down in Memphis, though. Can they? Any more than these weirdos can justify? Because, yeah, I was just looking, I looked up, there was some chick in this truck looking, from afar, all the way over there where you see that white van. All eyes on me, right? I guess. But, yeah, I was gonna cut this short. I know I said that there was this dude listening to some old school hip hop, if you will, I don't know, in one of these pillbox radios they got out here now. But yeah, America doesn't deserve our service, because they've made everything, and I'm here to point something out. Everything that I've experienced is nothing short of what black folks in past time have experienced. And everything that I've done is just a reflection of what black folks in the past have done, as far as providing an avenue or some kind of income for themselves, just solely for the fact, just so that they can survive. I've had to do that, and I'm still in the process of doing that. So you think I'm enthusiastic about going over there and getting my brains and balls blown to smithereens, fighting some goddamn Russians? And yeah, I've been in the States my whole life. That happened here. So with that said, why are you, if you are eager to join, why are you? Don't get involved. Stay out of it. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. There ain't no sense in carrying this out any longer. Stay out of it. If America's hurting for troops, like I said, let their police officers, because like I said, with the way they're dressed up, with the way, I mean, they literally are troops with the SWAT units and all that other stuff. And with America becoming a police state, I'm like, there's more than enough people in your police departments to go over there and see. Let's just see how brave and bravado they are when they actually face up against people who are actually shooting them back. So yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out.